All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
What? All right, what's up, everybody? Don't know what's going on there. For some reason, it's kicking us out a little bit. But hey, hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome to the ASAP Afternoon Blitz, joined by Jay McLevin, like usual. How's it going, Jay?
It's going well. I don't have my Astros. They're not playing today, but I get Pearland versus Hawaii at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. So I'm doing good. Let's go, Pearland!
You might get that today if the weather ever clears up there in Pennsylvania so they can play some baseball.
Man, I hope so, Gonzo. I'm ready for some Pearland baseball. Hagerstown is in there, too. I think you guys play around 2 or 3 o'clock today.
Yeah, Hagerstown's supposed to play Tennessee today, but like I said, the weather's slowing everything up. How's it going, Dustin?
It's going.
So let me see real quick. So just so I understand, on this panel, 2/3 have a team in it, and the 1/3 doesn't. Dustin, how you doing?
Good, you?
I am wonderful. Have you not heard that Pearland is in the Little League World Series? Well, not the World Series, but we're in the contention for it. Pearland, baby, Pearland. Dustin, do you need a Pearland shirt?
I have heard of Pearland, but Wisconsin's Little League teams suck monkey dick, so they're never going to make it to the damn Little League World Series.
Excuse me, it is not Pearland. It's Pearland.
It's Pearland.
Pearland.
I'll be right back. I gotta go.
That's fine. Me and Dustin will talk some craziness while you go. Yeah, man, Dustin, how much craziness is going on in the world today of sports, man? Sister Jean turned 103, and they named a damn train stop after the woman, and they asked her, hey, what is the secret to your longevity? She says, I eat well, I sleep well, and I pray well. And she says at least she hopes that she prays well. But can you imagine being 103 years old, and this nun is literally like involved in every damn game to where now she's become folklore at Loyola or La Jolla.
That was like when I was in, I think, middle school or high school, I remember. Some lady not only lived to be like 107 or 108, but she was one of the few people that actually could say that she lived in 3 separate centuries.
That's crazy. To even say that is nuts.
Because she was born in 1896, so she lived 4 years in the 1800s, then all of the 1900s, then she died in like 2003 or 2004.
That's just, literally, think about that. So 1800s, 1900s, and then you make it into the 2000s. Honestly, how much more of a life do you really need to have at that point? But yeah, man, that's amazing. Again, congratulations. Happy birthday to Sister Jean. Hopefully you'll live another, 5 or 10 more years, whatever the case God gives you. But definitely a big thing in history with La Jolla. Turn it attention a little bit if we can. Kayvon Thibodeau sprained his MCL by getting cut block blocked. And at first they were really afraid. It looks like he's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. He'll be back ready for the home opener. They plan on him being the big part of the defense. What does this mean for the Giants? I mean, if you sprain an MCL, how worried are you that, he may re-injure that in the season itself?
I mean, at this point, if he's your number one pick and you're basically your franchise cornerstone on defense, if I'm them, I just put him on the PUP list until week 6 and give him that extra rest.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I was thinking too. I just, I'm definitely be having my doctors, give him a good evaluation before I send him into a live NFL football game, just because of how important he is to that team. You want to make sure that you're not, risking anything. Gonzo, are you there? Or are you still gone? I think Gonzo's still there. And again, you look at, if we continue to look forward into it, Baker, as you know, was named the week 1 starter over Darnold. I did not think that was going to be the issue, that he would have to worry about Darnold being remotely competition for him. What do you expect for Baker, Justin?
I expect. Hold on one second.
No, you're good. You're good. Oh, the family life. All I got to worry about is old blue. Well, while he's talking about that, I'm looking at the Carolina. Hey, there he is. So I'll give you a quick recap before we continue on with the Baker Mayfield. Gonzo, we were talking about Sister Jean turned 103 years old at La Jolla University, and they named a train stop after her. I mean, how much longer do you think Sister Jean has left in that old 103 body of hers? I mean, it's incredible that she's made it this long. I don't even think I'll make it to 70, but I can't imagine making it to 103.
And not just that, like when they'll interview her during them basketball games, and hey, she's still coherent and knows what's going on and everything. I mean, because she'll be like, "We need to play better defense." I'm like, "Hey, Sister Jean knows what's going on." I don't know, man. It's crazy how long she's been part of that. It's going to be, they're going to hold a whole lot of memorials and stuff for her when she does pass away.
They're going to name the Loyola basketball court after her when she passes away.
You got to imagine that they do something like that. I mean, for somebody who's that entrenched into that school for that long, I mean, that's, like I said, that's like folklore. They might as well just name it La Jolla Sister Jeans instead of whatever it is. I mean, she might as well just be the damn mascot for as long as she's been there. We also talked about Kayvon Thibodeau spraining his MCL, and NASDAQ put that he can't be on the PUP since he's practiced. He's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks, it looks like. You know how much he means to that Giants defense. What do you think it's going to look like for him going into the regular season? I mean, for me personally, I'm a little nervous just because I know what MCLs look like, especially after a sprain is still a small tear. It's not a complete tear or a partial tear, but a sprain is still a small tear. They're microfiber tears, and that still kind of worries me, to a point where I think I've really got a lot of doctors looking at that knee before I put him into action, just because, you want to make sure it's fully 100 before you put him back in there to where, he doesn't fully tear it, right?
Yeah. Did you see the hit?
Yeah, he got a chop block on him, or cut block.
That was nasty.
Isn't this just a par for the course, though? I mean, the Jets and the Giants have had the 2 worst winning percentages in the NFL over the past 8 years, and their number 1 picks this year both got hurt with knee injuries.
Yeah, how crazy is that? Seriously. I mean, it's just stupid. I think there's a curse. I'm thoroughly convinced there is a curse in New York. I think we kind of saw it at the All-Star break with New York. It's kind of transcended into the Jets, now into the Giants. I mean, New York is just the epitome of a curse right now when it comes to injuries and letdowns.
That's what happens when you beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. You're cursed.
What's going on, Rob?
What's happening, man? How y'all feeling?
Look at him. Look at Rob. Don't he look beautiful this morning? Just a beaming ray of sunshine.
Oh, hey, that ain't nothing but God, because that ain't how I feel right now. How y'all feeling, man?
Man, we're good. We're good. You know, kind of catch up a little bit. We talked about Sister Jean turning 103 out there at La Jolla,
Oh,
and
yes.
they named a train stop, a Chicago train stop. You're a Chicago guy. You know Sister Jean. I don't know if you know her intimately. Maybe that's why she made it to 103. Maybe you do know her intimately. But again, you know, she's 103 years old, still going strong. And, you know, I mean, how much of a fabric, as we were talking about, is she of La Jolla?
Hey, I'll tell you this about Sister Jean, man. It's first of all, it's a blessing for anybody to reach your 80s. You know, with the stuff that's going around today, and from STDs to coronavirus to monkeypox to what we're gonna see next, aliens invading. I don't know. It's a lot going on in this world today. So I mean, for her to see it, what you say, 103, right? Yeah,
103.
Amazing. That's amazing. So God bless her. I hope she continues to go strong. She's still as sharp as a tack. And
absolutely.
That's one of the most amazing things. You know, almost reminds me of my grandmother, who's 96, and I got to see my great grandmother who passed away at 102. So
Jesus.
Wow. Man.
102.
Yeah, my great grandmother was 102, Lydia Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to her. So I got to know my grandmother's mother and to also talk to my grandmother and to relive that history. So she, you know, Sister Jean ain't nothing but a walking encyclopedia. Think of the things she's seen in this country,
it's
in this
ridiculous.
world, you know?
Yeah. but also think, you know, for me, there's a couple of things that you could think, right? I mean, from her standpoint, you know, obviously if she's 103, 102, that means she's probably born about 1920, 1918, 1920, somewhere in that neighborhood. About the same time as my grandfather was. My grandfather was born in 1912.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, think about it. When you talk about the evolution of humanity, right? I mean, everything through that, you know, what the African American had to go through, from the Negro Leagues that she saw to the World War IIs that she saw to you know, Martin Luther King. I mean,
all type of stuff.
All of that,
all type of stuff, dude. That is literally American history, right there.
Bro, she was born in a time when going into space, are you kidding me? And now we got a space station.
I mean, she saw the invention of color TV.
Bro, she knew the Wright brothers.
She went from VHS, like she's been through this evolution with us.
Man, I can't imagine
TV it. To VHS to TiVo to DVD. I mean, the advancement of technology. I mean, she was still around when there was a rotary phone. And now,
bro, you're not lying. I'm going from a rotary phone to a smartphone. Like, what are you talking about?
Hey, she went from 8 tracks to now MP3s and MP4s.
You know, they don't even buy CDs no more. You just go to Spotify or iTunes.
Hey, did you hear what he said? She said she went from boxy drawers to Spanx.
But God bless her. I hope she has the happiest of birthdays. Man, for sure, man. Like she is like, you know, she's a staple in Chicago, you know, especially when Loyola had that magical run and most people like myself who never heard of her got to hear of her, and you start to follow her story, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, shout out to her, man. Anytime you reach that age, I feel like you've done something right in your life. Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. By the way, Nadstat, we weren't referring at that point. Me and Rob were no longer referring to Sister Jean. We were actually talking about Rob's great grandmother. Trust me, I don't think she was a 9. No, but Rob, but hey, you know, we were also talking about not to switch gears, but we were also talking about Kayvon Thibodeau. You know how good he was coming out of Oregon. Goes number 5 in the draft. Winds up on the Giants. Winds up spraining his MCL. Out 3 or 4 weeks. You know, and we were also talking about the Jets and how their number 1 pick also was hurt. And I was tying it in with, like, I said, there's got to be a curse in New York at some level that it started out with the Yankees and the implosion and injuries and things that they went through, down into the Jets, down into the Giants. I mean, it's got to be – there's something going on with New York, man.
How's it going, Frankie?
Well, check out the water. What's in the water over there? But you know what,
Hey.
it's not just them. I think honestly, these injuries has a lot to do with. To me, sometimes I feel like sports science hasn't really caught up with how athletic these guys are and how much stress these guys put on their body, especially nowadays. I mean, you're looking at dudes that's offensive linemen that's probably just as quick as linebackers, and the things of that nature and the torque that these guys are putting on their body. So, injuries are unfortunately is part of the game. But I also think now with the elevated play, but due to the athleticism in these athletes, I mean, it's just bound to happen. It's just bound to happen.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. With within the top 5 draft picks, obviously we know 3 of them were defensive end with Walker, Tibbs, and Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is going to have the biggest impact in the NFL in their rookie season?
That's a good question. Who does Hutchinson play for?
Detroit.
So Hutchinson plays for the Lions. Walker plays for the Jets. And then Tibbs plays for the Giants.
Maybe Hutchinson. I've been hearing a lot of talk, and I haven't seen this personally, but I've also haven't really paid attention to Detroit football like that. But I've been hearing they got a promising young team over there, and a lot of things right now riding on. If golf can mesh with this young receiving core, but a lot of people have been raving about the Detroit Lions that I've been seeing in like different sports groups. So I think if you going based off that, maybe Hutchinson might have a great year. Especially, there's no pressure in Detroit. Everybody knows this team is not winning a Super Bowl. And not to say that the Jets have more pressure, but I just think at Detroit you can kind of play free because any win they get in Detroit is a good thing. It's a plus. It's not really a negative if this team doesn't win. So I think Hutchinson, with him not having as much pressure on him, and he's definitely going to get the time over there to play, I think Hutchinson might have a better year.
Yeah, I like Aiden Hutchinson. I like the intelligence level, or when I say intelligence, like the Thibodeau plays a lot of chess. For those of you guys that don't know, Thibodeau knows how to play chess. He plays a lot of chess in his downtime, and I think he's a very strategic type of guy. And so I really think that if he could come back from this MCL strain, which he will, and get into a groove, I really am looking for Thibodeau to do some big things out there in New York. And I also believe that Hutchinson as well. I think Walker will. I think all 3 of them will have good. But I feel like I think with what New York can do under Dable, I'm looking at Tibbs, but again, Hutchinson is a beast in and of itself, So what a time to be alive. Baker, holy crap! Baker got named week number 1. Did anybody?
Hey Jay, Chris and I got to talk about the draft pick thing here.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I got on a roll with Rob.
He was on the roll.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be quiet. Let me go back to my corner when I'm gonna mute myself.
Are we talking about just first-round picks or draft picks in general?
No, we're just talking about just those 3 specific. Which defensive end in the top 5, do you think is gonna have the biggest season?
If we're going top 5, I think Sauce Gardner's gonna have the best season out of all of them with the Jets, just because he never allowed a touchdown in college. And he's going to be tested early and often.
Yeah, I think Hutchinson out of them 3 probably just because with what Rob was saying, I'd look for the Lions. Not that they're going to be maybe a playoff team, but I look for them to be better this year than what they have been. I think Campbell's really going to get the Giants going in the right directions. I really do. It's going to take them a few years, but you've seen improvement out of them. So I'd probably go Hutchinson. I like Thibodeau, but after seeing that injury hit he took last night and getting injured, that kind of scares me a little bit. Just because, like you said, a knee, you got to be careful with that knee. You don't want to bring him back too soon.
Not to mention the torque that you're using to jump off the line to scramble to the quarterback or to even play a pass coverage. Man, you got to be careful, especially as a defensive player with that knee. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened to Jadeveon Clowney with the Texans that first year. I mean, you really didn't see him even until the second year with the Texans because of that knee injury. That's kind of what I'm worried about with Thibodeau is, once you kind of tweak that MCL, how's it going to perform, going through the rest of the season?
Did you think that was a dirty hit on Thibodeau, dirty chop block?
Nah, I just think it was a chop block. I think that's a good point. It's a good point that you bring that up, though, Chris. It's a good point that you bring that up because I think now with the way that the rules are in the NFL, they've really softened the league to the point where now you'll look at a good move and be like, "Hey, question, was that dirty, or was he within lines of play?" And to me, just like a chop block, man. You to take something down that big, you got to go out them legs. It just is unfortunate, but it's a part of the game.
Yeah, it is. Like you said, when you're that big and powerful, and that's really what he's built around, is power and that first step that he has. He's got a wicked first step, and if you don't get him right at the initial beginning of it, yeah, good luck trying to catch him. Because like I said, he's a chess guy. He's got quick feet, but he also has a lot of good swim moves that can get around you. So. Yeah, going for the feet sometimes, like they said when I was in school, man, hey, don't look at the head, don't look at the legs, look at the belly button, and then that's going to tell you where he's going, and then just take him out as quick as you can. Man, what a time to be alive. I'm sorry, Chris, I was in unscripted mode for about 5 minutes. I had to realize that I was on the afternoon Blitz.
You're fine, man.
Frankie's like, Jay, you're not on unscripted, man. I was in unscripted mode for about 10 minutes.
Oh, Frankie the Yankee.
All I can say is Sky Moore is going to make the biggest impact among any rookie this year.
You heard it here first by the stat guy. The stat guy. We got to get you a shirt that say that, Dustin. The stat guy. Yes, Lord.
You said the stat hawk. He said hey, I also think about that Ricky Bobby when old girl gets in the autograph line and he signs her forehead. It's like, you can't just come into the autograph line when I'm in autograph mode.
Point to it.
Hey, did y'all see
what Jay was going to about Baker Mayfield? Let's jump into that for a minute.
Okay, let's talk.
Does it surprise anybody that Baker was named the starter? It didn't surprise me. I'd heard reports about a week ago that he was blowing Darnold out of the water. But even before that, once they said that they traded for Mayfield, I expected Baker to be the starter.
Yeah.
Darnold just hasn't ever really impressed me. But you guys think Baker's going to have a good year in Carolina?
I wasn't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
What Frankie said, Rob is sad about. I don't think anybody really saw Sam Darnold keeping that starting role, especially once we saw, as Chris alluded to, Baker was going to Carolina. We the writing was on the wall. It's like, okay, Sam Darnold is finally about to play that role as secondary quarterback. However, I don't think that this changes anything for the Panthers. The Panthers have a lot more to worry about than Baker Mayfield. I mean, they had a struggling offensive line last year. They gotten better. How much better is yet to be told, yet to be seen. We know Christian McCaffrey can't stay healthy. We question the defense. We never really questioned the receiving core. I like DJ Moore. I think he's a stud. And if you can get the ball to him, I think it could be some great combinations between Baker and DJ. But I just don't think that the Panthers have enough to really make any noise. I believe if they can beat 500 this year, that's a successful season for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I feel like, because of the way they dealt with Baker in Cleveland, almost to the point of like slapping him in the face. They might as well have just slapped him in the face. That's how it felt like when they brought it. The way they handled it, right? The way they brought in Deshaun, kind of scooted Baker off to the side, and you were going to be kind of the outcast guy for a little while until we could find a home for you. That just doesn't. That especially after all the commercials where he's giving the keys to some other guy. I mean, he's making the stadium his home, and Cleveland this and Cleveland that, and now all of a sudden you find yourself on Skid Row. I think one thing I know about Baker is he's a competitive guy. He's got an ego, and that hurts. When that happens to you, you can't tell me that don't hurt to the point where it strikes you in your core. You don't just take the flag and plant it in the O in Ohio. Yeah. And then think you're just going to take that slap to the face lightly. I don't think that's Baker's makeup or who he is. So the sad part I feel about Baker was they put him on a team, or they traded him to a team where he basically is in purgatory, for lack of a better word, because they like you said, they don't. You got a running back who's basically a cripple at this point who can get hurt at any minute. You got one good wideout, but that's about where the buck stops on that team. So it's kind of like you go from having a Rolls Royce with Amari Cooper and the great tight ends, and then you have this stud running backs and great offensive line and great defense, to this. And I mean, I think Baker will play well because it's Baker who wants to prove that he's still a good quarterback. So I think he's going to play well, but I don't think the team as a whole goes far because they don't have the weapons to go far. And I think Baker will just try to ride this out as best he can to get to hopefully maybe a better team and really, but to prove your worth or to do a comeback in your face type of thing to Cleveland. Carolina was the worst team you could get traded to do that. And I just kind of feel bad for Baker, that he's not really getting a true team to showcase his talents, with.
I'm telling you, Jay, the Panthers can make the playoffs this year as a wild card. That defense they have, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now.
Defense wins championships.
And their defense has vastly improved from where it was a year ago when you look at a lot of the offseason moves they made.
And their offensive line should be better.
They added Xavier Woods as one of the safeties. They have J.C. Horn as a quarterback. They have not Rocky Scene, but they have Jeremy Chin as the other free safety. So they have tons of young talent in the secondary. They got one of the best offensive linemen in this year's draft early on to help. They have Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard, and they got Dante Freeman, who filled in for Derrick Henry last year in Tennessee, and the running back room. So now they have a three-headed monster at running back. They have David Moore and Robbie Anderson as their wide receivers. So, I mean, they don't have that bad of a team. Their biggest problem was they did not have consistent quarterback play last year. Sam Darnold.
I got to be honest with you, though, Dustin.
And if you look at it, Sam Darnold was 5-3 at one point last season before Carolina went down the crapper. And if you can go,
I got to be honest with you, Dustin. Though your predictions of late have kind of been taking a hit. Like I've been seeing some chinks in your armor. So I don't know, man. I mean, you're taking a few hits on those predictions. So I'm gonna have to rely more right now on the solid guy, the money guy, the easy money. I'm gonna have to go with my boy Gonzo and his prediction of Carolina because I think at this point, he's just got a little bit more street cred.
I was agreeing with Gonzo though because I think Carolina can be a wild card team.
I know, but I can't give you the credit because you've been taking some jinx. I got to go with the more solidified guy at this point.
I'm gonna have to break the news to all three of y'all. Carolina ain't going nowhere fast. I just want y'all to understand that. I understand it's a beautiful thing. To me, if they beat the Cleveland Browns, then Baker Mayfield has just won his Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not going anywhere after that. You tell me what team comes out for them to make the playoffs. You tell me who do they beat to make the playoffs.
The NFC isn't like it's the strongest conference.
I will ride with the Cowboys before I ride with the Panthers.
These are the Cowboys.
Hey, wait a minute now. Why are you laughing like that? Now I'm not saying the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl, but just slow your chuckles down a little bit.
I have more confidence in the Dallas Cowboys than the Carolina Panthers.
No, but hey, on this tip though, I feel for Baker. And I do want Baker to do well, just so I want him to say, hey, Cleveland, look at me now. You know, I think it's a good storyline. So I am kind of pulling for Baker as an individual because I like to see the underdogs who got bitch slapped. I like to see him make a comeback and prove to his team that, hey, I'm here. I know you discounted me, but look what I'm doing. And I like that kind of story, you know? So,
yeah, but are we forgetting? Not so long ago, all of us were saying Baker's not that guy. So he can't get to Carolina, and all of a sudden we forget that he's better than Sam Darnold, but he's still not that guy. And then let's not get that mistaken. And now you're taking away weapons from him.
How do you know Baker Mayfield's not that guy though, Rob? And I'm going to pose this point to you. How many different offensive coordinators has Baker Mayfield had since he's been in Cleveland? He has had a different offensive coordinator every single season he's been in Cleveland. So nobody even knows what the real Baker Mayfield is at this point because every year he has a new offensive coordinator and a new offensive system.
That's a good point.
Well, I'm going to pose this question to you, Dustin. Does Baker Mayfield know who Baker Mayfield is?
Yeah, he does. He was a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. He was the #1 pick in the draft for a reason. If you give him the proper system, that's the type of quarterback you can expect. Granted, he's not.
Are we saying that Carolina is the proper system?
Not this year, no. But if he plays well enough this year, he will play himself into an extension with Carolina, and Carolina will give him that system because they have a lot of money to spend next offseason. And if
he got a different offensive coordinator now, so you're telling me now if he doesn't have a good season this year, we're going to blame it on that too because he's on a new team now?
It depends on what you mean by a good season. If he has a good season and Carolina doesn't win a lot of games, they will extend him. If he goes out and throws for 30-plus touchdowns, around 4,000 yards, and Carolina is still a 6 or 7 win team, that's not on Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield will have done his part to get Carolina successful.
Yeah.
They will. If Baker Mayfield goes and plays the way he did in Cleveland, and Carolina still loses games, Carolina is going to extend Mayfield and then use all the money they have next year to build a system around him.
And I think what we're forgetting is how bad was Cleveland before Baker got there? Baker took
terrible
to the playoffs.
One time.
Yeah.
One time.
Changing coaches every year.
There's a such thing.
How many games was Cleveland winning before he got there?
He took them to everybody got to let that Pittsburgh thing go. Yeah,
Cleveland was winning 1-0 games a year before.
Cleveland was one possession from knocking off the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs, Rob. Legitimately, one possession away from
Did they do it? Kevin Durant was one pinky toe away from beating the Bucs.
It doesn't matter,
but
though.
it didn't happen, right?
Cleveland has at least been respectable.
I don't deal off woulda, coulda, shouldas, or what if. I deal off the fact that he didn't beat the Kansas City.
It doesn't matter, though. Cleveland has still been respectable. Cleveland has still been respectable since Baker Mayfield got there.
Respectable.
And that's what I feel like. I feel like because it's true, though, Rob. Hey, we all knew that Cleveland couldn't get more than 10 points in a game sometimes before Baker got there. Yeah. I mean, they were the laughingstock.
Being respectable is all you need to be in the NFL.
When we go back to those Romeo Crennel days and all that stuff with Cleveland, they were stinking up the joint. But and I feel like Cleveland really did Baker wrong, especially for what he's done for their franchise to get him back above 500. Yeah. Where we're actually talking about Cleveland in a positive way and not a negative way. So, yeah, I think Cleveland definitely did Baker dirty like that.
No, I'm not saying that Cleveland didn't do Baker dirty. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is now all of a sudden everybody's forgetting that not too long ago we all agreed that Baker was kind of hindering Cleveland. They were supposed to be a perennial playoff team. Let's not forget. And Baker gets every excuse.
Hey, my last comment on Baker before Deshaun got there.
We're going to give Baker an excuse. We give everybody an excuse. But we can't, he's at this. You're still a quarterback. You still have control of what's going on the field. Make the passes that you need to make. That's all I'm saying. And Frankie, I could be a fan of 4 teams. I don't care what nobody thinks. We also already know that already.
Hey, let me ask you guys this question.
But Rob's drum. I hope everybody understands that.
Hey, let me ask you guys this. You know, they just drafted Matt Corral in this draft.
He's done.
And they did, and now he's hurting out for the season. Number one, when he does get healthy, can Matt Corral crack the starting lineup in Carolina, or is he just destined to be another backup?
I think he's going to end up being like Jordan Love in Green Bay, honestly. Because I think if Baker Mayfield plays well and they give Baker Mayfield an extension, Matt Corral is not going to overtake Baker Mayfield. He's just not.
That hurts. That's painful to say.
It's not painful to say because how many look at Matt.
I'm not saying you're not lying. I'm just
look
saying,
at Matt Hasselbeck, for example. Look at how long Matt Hasselbeck had to sit behind Brett Favre before he got a starting opportunity.
Yeah.
He sat behind Brett Favre for 6 or 7 years before he finally got that opportunity with Seattle. Yeah. Just because you're a backup with one team for a long time doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just means you're waiting for the one opportunity you have to prove that you can play somewhere, and then you can sign that contract. Like I said, if Mayfield plays well, they will give him a 4-year extension in Carolina, which means Corral's going to be sitting under Mayfield for 3 or 4 years, and then he's going to have to decide if he's going to stay there or if he's going to try his chance on the open market.
Hey, speaking of Jordan Love, let me ask you guys this. You saw what he did in the last preseason game. He threw 3 damn interceptions. You got to imagine Aaron Rodgers going to retire at some point. I mean, who here really believes in Jordan Love?
Man, that was a wasted pick for the Green Bay Packers.
Now, Aaron Rodgers was sticking up for Jordan, saying, hey, it wasn't all his fault, but at the same time, it's not like Jordan was making his case either.
I'm going to tell you like this. Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have been singing that tune if Jordan went out there and had a successful game. Aaron Rodgers is always going to big somebody up when he can look good out of the situation. We've seen enough of Aaron Rodgers to know he's a manipulator. Like he got what he called it. He didn't say he got vaccinated. He said I forgot the terminology he used, but
I don't know what Aaron Rodgers does. That's the same guy that's taking hallucinogens.
He never came out and said, I got the shot. I got the vaccine. He came out and said, I got immunized. That statement alone lets you know the type of guy Aaron Rodgers is.
Hey, look, Rob. No, wait, now, Rob.
And no,
Rob, I'm going to tell you what happened, Rob. Let me tell you what happened. He went out to the desert, got some of that hallucinogen, thought he got the shot. And that was the last known memory he had. And when he came out of that peyote-like trip out of the tribal desert of Nicolas Cage and realized that he did not get the shot, well, he had already said he got the shot, so it was too late to take it back. I blame the peyote. I blame the hallucinogens. I blame the damn desert and the Native American Indians, Aaron Rodgers, and Nicolas Cage. I blame Nicolas Cage because if you not notice, Aaron Rodgers kind of started to look a little bit like Nicolas Cage.
What even makes it worse, though, for Jordan Love is, yeah, he hasn't looked very good when you've got to see him. But what makes it worse is they moved up in the draft to get him.
Yeah, they did. Well, they did the same damn thing that San Francisco did. They moved up to number 3 to get Trey. So maybe they did a Jordan 2.0. Trey doesn't come out and do what Trey is supposed to do.
I think that was more of a message sent to Aaron Rodgers because that's when Aaron Rodgers was playing he wasn't sure if he was going to come back card. And I think that was more of a message sent to Aaron Rodgers where the Packers are like, fine, if you don't want to come back, we'll just draft Jordan Love and we'll replace you with him. And then Rodgers kind of took that message and said, I'll shove it up your ass and basically win 2 straight MVPs. Now what are you going to do?
I mean, that's true, but if I'm the Green Bay Packers, that's not the best way to use a draft pick either because you probably could have got a really good weapon out of it. And instead you got Jordan Love and you got to sit on Jordan Love. Granted, if that was the best to get Aaron, I think Aaron was going to come back regardless if they got Jordan or not. I don't think he was ready to retire. But, man, what a waste of a draft pick because they probably when they were drafting that, they could have got a really nice, solid player out of that.
Yeah, I want to get back to Baker Mayfield for 1 second here quick. Baker Mayfield's coach now is Matt Rule, who was also the coach at Baylor when Baker Mayfield was in Oklahoma. So Matt Rule knows firsthand what Baker Mayfield can do. And if you look at the offensive coordinator that Matt Rule brought in this year, it's Ben McAdoo. The Ben McAdoo that worked with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, the Ben McAdoo that worked with Eli Manning in New York and won a Super Bowl with him. So Ben McAdoo knows how to get the most out of his quarterbacks.
That's interesting.
If I can't rule, Rule's going to turn Carolina around.
We'll see.
And it was Carolina's defense that kept them in the game a lot last year after Sam Darnold was replaced by P.J. Walker. So if their defense can play at the way they played last year, you're going to get more points out of Baker Mayfield than you're going to get out of P.J. Walker.
Baker Mayfield is better than Sam Darnold, but not by much. That's my opinion.
And they were 5-3 with Sam Darnold last year,
my opinion.
with less talent than they have on this year's team.
We'll see. Like I say, we'll see.
Hey, speaking of college football, though, let me ask you a question. Texas came out and announced their starter was going to be Ewers. I'm assuming, and then they got some other guy. I think Archie's probably around 3 or 4 down in the depth chart. How many seasons do you think go by before we see Archie Manning as a starter?
Archie
he's not in college yet.
I thought this was his freshman year of college.
No, Archie Manning's a senior this year. He goes into college next year.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, I'm a year off. Then I apologize. For some reason, I had Archie Manning graduated.
To answer your question, Jay, he goes into Texas in year 1 and starts.
You think he goes year 1 and starts right off the bat?
I think so too, man. I've watched him. I've got to see 3 or 4 of his games, and he's tough. He can.
If your last name is Manning and you have the reputation of a Manning, you're not going to Texas to be a second or third.
Oh no, I get it. Trust me, I get what you're saying. One thing I do know about Texas though is they are stacked at the QB position. I mean, they got like 2 or 3 really good quarterbacks over there, and then you throw Archie in it. Obviously, somebody's going to go to the transfer portal, right? I mean, they're not all just going to stay there. So I imagine some of those guys will dip out in the portal, but. Man, I can't wait till Archie gets there. And let me ask you this: when Archie does get there, what does it mean for Texas football? Like, do you think that they're going to start being able to put together, some eventually, hopefully, top 3, standings in the title run, or what?
You're the Texas guy, Jay. So this is going to make you a little bit happy. But I think the moment that Arch Manning walks in that door, Texas is going to have a top 5 recruiting class. They're going to be a top 10 team, and they're going to be one of the favorites to win the national championship because everyone's going to want to play with Manning. All the big receivers, all the big running backs are going to want to play with Manning.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if drafting Archie was just going to buy them some time, or if he was going to go in there and then other guys were going to follow those footsteps and actually, rebound Texas out of that slump they've been in forever.
There's already been a couple guys that were committed other places that decommitted and committed to Texas right after
because of Manning.
Okay. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I thought that was a huge win for Sarkisian and the Texas program to get Archie. I thought that was, because honestly, Texas has just been abysmal. I mean, they haven't sucked. They haven't obviously been in the rankings in forever, and it's good to see. Hopefully, Texas get back into that level.
No, and having a guy like Steve Sarkisian there too does help because he has worked with several high-profile quarterbacks in the past.
Yeah.
So having a guy like Manning's not going to phase him at all. But like Gonzo said, all these people now that are starting to decommit from these programs that they previously committed to play with Manning says something. And you look at Texas A&M this year. Texas A&M had a top 3 recruiting class under Jimbo Fisher this year.
They bought that class.
Next year, Texas is going to have that number 3 recruiting class because they're going to start taking the commits away from Texas A&M. They're going to start taking the commits away from Oklahoma and all the surrounding areas because all those running backs, wide receivers are going to want to be on offense with Manning.
Just ask Nick Saban. They bought that class.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Nick Saban's just mad that Texas A&M spent more money than he did.
Let me ask you this: How long do you think Alabama can continuously be ranked number 1? It's interesting because Georgia won the title, but Alabama got the number 1 ranking the following. Now, granted, I understand Alabama had it still got top guys, and I think Georgia lost quite a few. But still, how long can they stay at that number 1 ranking before they start sliding down a little bit?
Let's see. Georgia has all their offense back, but they lost like 7 or 8 starters on defense to the NFL.
Yeah, it was the defense side that they really hurt on.
No, I think that's the biggest key. Like when you look at Georgia. Outside of Clemson, when you look at all these teams that win the national championship, it's typically because they have a very senior-heavy class that has a ton of experience. they go through the bumps for a couple of years. They have a good year, and then all of a sudden they win the national title, which is kind of what Georgia did, where they were always knocking on the door, but they couldn't do it until last year. But you have a team like Alabama where every single year they're a top 2 recruiting class. No matter who they lose in the draft in one year, they just restock the team with whoever they want to restock it with the next year. So as long as Nick Saban's there, that team is going to be considered a national championship contender just because of the way the recruiting works in Alabama and just how much he's put into that program. That team's not going anywhere until he goes somewhere.
Not to, I guess, turn the show into a somber note, but I just saw earlier this morning where it looked like, I believe it was three students of Indiana State University were killed in a crash. I believe 2 of them were freshmen. Christian Eubanks, 18, of Waukegan, Illinois. Jaden Masili, 19, of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And Caleb Van Hooser, 19, of Liberty Township, Ohio. And then there were 2 others that were in ICU that had been released out of ICU and under normal hospital care. But those 3 individuals, I guess they went off at 1:30 Sunday morning, went off the road or went off the highway and struck a tree and are no longer with us. And I just want to say a shout out to those families, that we here, at ASAP on this afternoon show, what have you, is, we're sorry for your loss. And, to be that young, 18, 19, 20, oh my God, I mean, they're babies. They're just babies. And they have promising football futures, I would imagine, ahead of them. So again, our thoughts and prayers go out to those guys and those families, and we're sorry for your loss.
Yeah, most definitely. What do you guys think about Trey Lance? Do you think for one, do you think 49ers are making a mistake going with Lance over Garoppolo?
Gonzo knows what I feel about Trey Lance.
I don't know about Trey Lance. I haven't seen anything on him yet to be even able to formulate an opinion on him.
Yeah, I'm the same way, Jay.
You guys better be sold on Trey Lance, because if you're not, you're gonna regret it in a hurry.
You think Trey Lance is a shit?
Trey Lance is the real deal. There's no question in my mind he's the real deal. What
gives you that impersonation?
When you can go through an entire season in college, I don't care if it's FCS, I don't care if it's FBS, I don't care if it's Division II, Division III, whatever it is. When you can go through an entire college season as a freshman and not commit a single turnover, you're the real deal. His freshman year,
Dustin, I love you, but that's your thing, that you're the real deal.
I'm just saying,
you can go through a college season. I mean, come on, how many college quarterbacks have been bust? Do I need to bring out Ryan Leaf? Do we need to go down the Ryan Leaf?
Ryan Leaf was not even. He had one good year in college. Ryan Leaf did.
What was that dude's name that bust in Oakland?
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
But it took him 5 years to be a bust, though. Like, he was never good, but he at least played out his rookie contract. Ryan Leaf didn't even play out his rookie
contract. They just finally admitted it to themselves. He was always.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know if you can say anybody is the real deal until you see them in NFL action. And I don't know, man. I mean, I hear you. I mean, hey, I know he had a good college, season. A lot of good college quarterbacks had good seasons, and they suck in the NFL. Danny Warfel. Whatever you want, however far you want to go down that tree. But I don't know, man. I don't know if like I said, I can't make it a guess. I mean, I know that guy is sold on him. I can't be that sold on him until I see him in action, though.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not sold on him, but after seeing him play in that preseason game, he did make a couple throws that I was like, okay, them are impressive throws. Not everybody can make those.
I know, but Gonzo, we're going back to practice. Gonzo, we're going back to practice. You want me to give a couple of third stringers there? And okay, we're going to formulate our opinions.
Hey, I'm not saying that. Hold on.
I would say, I think.
I say that. Hold on, Rob. I say that. Watch this. I say that because in the ASAP group chat, Joe McDonald and a whole bunch of other dudes jumped all over Cole for getting excited because Dallas Cowboys had a hell of a good game, and they're like, it's preseason. And then he comes back, well, a win is a win.
He did make a couple of impressive throws. I'm not sold on him yet. I want to see, but that's all I've got to see of him. Like you guys said, we haven't got to see none of them. All I've got to see of them is in the preseason.
I get it. That was just more of a reference back to the group chat. I was just saying, like, hey, look, you guys were all over the Cowboys 5 minutes ago, and now we're talking preseason.
Hey, y'all look like y'all got a good kick returner, though, Jay. I'll give you that. But,
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know anything about him, Rob, until I seen that game, and I went back and watched those highlights, and I'm thinking, like, well, damn, maybe Dallas does have a pretty good run game, Rob.
But Jay, the thing that you got to remember with Trey Lance, like I know, yes, a lot of successful college quarterbacks were busts, and some that nobody expected to be good ended up panning out. Yeah. But even going into last year's draft, Trey Lance was viewed as the best quarterback in that class. He was viewed with the highest upside, more than Justin Fields or any of these guys. Yeah. But nobody gave him the credit that a lot of other quarterbacks got just because he sat out his last year because of the pandemic. And he came from the FCS school, but he came from the same school that Carson Wentz came from. And Carson Wentz had a couple good years in the NFL before his back and everything else kind of threw him out of whack. But Trey Lance was always viewed as the top quarterback in his draft class from the day one that he entered it.
And this is my viewpoint, though, Dustin. And to your point, I've always said this. You cannot – look, if you draft a guy that high, he will not get better until you put him on the field to get real-life experience to get better. Now, here's a caveat. Again, Justin Fields, he's on the field, making mistakes, but he's getting better as time goes on. And Justin Fields, I would imagine, is going to be really good. Trey Lance, it's harder to do that with a guy like Trey Lance because typically, when you're drafting a guy that high in the field, your team sucks, and you're like, throw him out there. Let's start getting him experience. We'll build him like we build the team along with the team. But then you get a team who, for all encompasses, makes it pretty far in the postseason, and now all of a sudden we're going to put this guy out there. How do you do that when you got a Jimmy Garoppolo who's already got you to a certain level, and now you want to take this championship caliber type team, and you want to put a freshman quarterback in there, and I say freshman as in freshman in the NFL. Do you really want to take those types of chances? What I'm saying is the chances are easier to take when your team sucks as it is to take that same chance on a team that has a proven quarterback to some degree, and that you could go far with in that team. Do you really want to take steps back when you have all this money and championship level invested in your team? Do you really want to go back to go forward? And I don't know. To me, it's harder to do that.
I guess the argument that I'm going to bring to the table with it is Justin Fields started 9 games last year. Played in 11 total, but he started 9 games last year, and the Chicago Bears were 2-7 in the games that he started.
God bless.
He had 7 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. Trey Lance played in 7 games last year and made 3 starts. 49ers were 3-0 in the games that he started, and he had 6 touchdowns and only 1 interception. So he put up better numbers than Justin Fields in a smaller sample size, but he was going to throw more touchdowns than Justin Fields in less games.
I mean, he was going to throw more touchdowns than Justin Fields, period, because the Bears have no weapons.
He had 6 touchdowns and 1 interception.
That's kind of where I was going to go with that. I was like, well, not really a whole lot of weapons out there.
But I'm just saying, though, Justin Fields played in way more games than Trey Lance played and looked terrible. Trey Lance, yes, a small sample size.
And again, to your point, Dustin, I'm saying play Trey. I'm just saying I hope that when they do play him, that he comes out and takes the reins of that team, because that team, honestly, outside of the quarterback, because it's still kind of unknown, can go deep. We saw them go deep last year. They could go deep in the playoffs, and they did. Those are the right guy at the helm. And to your credit, in those 3 games that he did play, he played well. So, and I hope that he does do it, because I don't ever like to see anybody fail. So, hey, more power to him, man. And I agree. I think if you draft that high, you got to play your guy. You got to play him, because he does not get better sitting on the sideline. Nobody gets better holding a clipboard. You only get better when you're on the field.
I think Kyle Shanahan realizes that now, because if you look at the kind of offense that San Francisco has, when you have Elijah Mitchell in the backfield, when you have Deebo Samuel in the backfield and doing everything that Deebo Samuel does, this is the perfect offense for Trey Lance. Because Trey Lance also gives them that running dimension that Colin Kaepernick used to give Jim Harbaugh when Jim Harbaugh was leading San Francisco. This is the perfect fit for Trey Lance because of the way the offense is designed.
Not to mention, remember, Garoppolo sat behind Brady. And I believe he became a decent game manager because of that. And I believe Trey Lance was sitting there taking notes from Jimmy G and understanding how to win. So that might actually serve him justice by being able to sit out to a year and watch a winning quarterback win. And it kind of rubs off on you. So I'm not going to say that he can't make it in this league. I'm like you, Jay. I haven't seen enough to make that determination, but I'm not ready to say that he won't do a good job either.
Yeah, again, and I get what you're saying about the whole Garoppolo and sitting behind him. And there's nothing, I'm not going to say that you can't.
Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Think about that now. Think about some of the great quarterbacks we've seen that had to sit down and watch other quarterbacks do their job.
Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith.
Yes.
A lot of people forget that. And Mahomes, if you listen to Mahomes has credited a lot of his success in that first season to Alex Smith for everything he got to learn from him and how he mentored him that year that he was set behind them.
And again, I don't want to make it out like you can't learn from somebody sitting behind. But I do think that you can. I just think that experience and getting out there and getting into the mix, also is a great tool. And you can have somebody like Alex Smith, whoever on the side, or a really good quarterback coach helping you on the side, saying, "Hey, look, this is what you did. This is what the result. Now go out there and try it this way." I think both ways, honestly. But if I got a starting quarterback, I'm probably going to play him. I just say get him on the field. Let's start getting the experience and let's go. But again, I think Justin Burrow and Josh Allen were examples of that mentality as well. So I think either way can work. I don't want it to be like you can.
I think it's different though when you already have a quarterback in place. Even if you draft another quarterback high, it's always going to be a hard time or a hard choice of considering when to start this young guy, because I don't want to throw off my old like look what Dustin brought up. Perfect example. You go high to go get Jordan Love, and what does Aaron Rodgers do? He said, "I'm gonna win back."
Let's put it this way.
You know what I'm saying?
It's harder to start. Watch this. Hey, Rob, to your point, it's harder to start a quarterback of that level when you already have a quarterback in place and you already have a highly successful team.
Yeah.
It's easier to start that quarterback when your team sucks,
right? And
you got a gap filler quarterback already at the helm.
Right, and that's the hard thing with San Francisco, because even though, yes, San Francisco, nobody – I think it's safe to say if you're not a San Francisco fan, even though we understand that there's a possibility, nobody starts off saying San Francisco all the way this year. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're an actual fan of the 49ers. So, but the thing is, they don't suck, though. So it's hard to say, do I really want to start Trey Lance now, considering the fact Jimmy G has taken us to 2 conference championship games. Jimmy G has taken us to the Super Bowl. It's hard to say right now it's Trey Lance time. But
I don't think it is.
Sooner or later, you got to pull that trigger.
Watch this. I'm going to go a different direction. Hey, Dustin, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo, franchise quarterback or gap filler?
Gap filler.
Ooh.
Watch. Hey, I agree with Dustin. I agree with Dustin, and I want Dustin to explain it in 1 second because I'm going to ask you another quarterback.
What?
Now watch this. Baker Mayfield, franchise quarterback or gap filler?
I swear to God.
Franchise.
Oh, my God. I'm done with this conversation.
No. So that's the thing I wanted to ask about. But hold on now. Give Dustin, Rob, I know what you're thinking, but I want to hear Dustin out on this. Dustin, why do you say that Garoppolo is a gap? By the way, I agree with you that he's a gap filler. I also agree that Baker is a franchise given the right system. But I want to hear your explanations on both quarterbacks and why one is a gap and the other one is a franchise.
Jimmy Garoppolo is a gap filler because I think San Francisco has basically seen as far as he can take them. And the first Super Bowl that San Francisco went to, it wasn't because of Jimmy Garoppolo. The guy threw a total of 31 passes in the freaking playoffs, and they got to the Super Bowl because of their running game and because of their defense. It wasn't because of Jimmy Garoppolo. It was because Jimmy Garoppolo would stand there, hand the ball off 40 times, then throw maybe 6 passes a game and get your first downs.
But he didn't throw the game away. That's what I always
because
tell people when it
because the
comes to this.
49ers didn't let
Doesn't
him throw the
matter.
game
And
away because they
trust
weren't
me,
stupid.
You can
But
make
why
a
hold on,
couldn't
trade.
the 49ers do that with Mullins and the other quarterbacks
man.
they had?
Come on, man.
The
Y'all don't give
49ers
that
were
man
the
no
49ers
credit.
were not
Lord
stupid enough to
Jesus.
let him throw the game away. And you saw exactly what happened in the Super Bowl when Jimmy Garoppolo was forced to throw the football. The Chiefs pulled away.
If it wasn't for ghost offensive pass interference call in that first half of that game on Kittle's, 49ers might have won that game.
Everybody forget that's not no boy.
Hey,
Lord
look.
Jesus.
Hey,
Y'all don't want to
to
give
Dustin.
Jimmy G no credit.
Hey, hold on now. Hold on.
I'm not saying
To
he's Tom
Dustin's
Brady.
point. Hey,
I'm
to
not
Dustin's
saying
point.
he's Peyton Manning. But what I'm saying is he's not going to throw the game away.
No, he will throw the game away.
If you force Jimmy Garoppolo to throw 30 passes a game, he's throwing the game away.
Oh, God.
Rob,
yeah.
The only reason the 49ers are where they are is because the defense and Deebo Samuel and that run game covered up enough for Jimmy to get where they needed to go. And I'm going to tell you, if you go back and look at that Dallas game, take away the first half penalties, they only won by one possession. Take away those half penalties, I guarantee I don't think 49ers make it past Dallas. Dallas was their worst enemy in that game. 49ers did not beat Dallas. Dallas beat Dallas. Straight up.
More power.
Straight up.
We're gonna see what Trey Lance can do with this 49ers team. This shit.
Here's the stat for you, Rob, which is why I feel the way I feel.
It's beautiful.
Jimmy Garoppolo owns a 31-14 regular season record. That's a great record. When he throws more than 25 passes in a game, he's 2-13. He cannot throw more than 25 passes in a game, or he will give the game away.
Great record.
Justin, how many passes did he throw against Green Bay last year in the playoff game against Green Bay? How many passes did he throw?
How many passes did Aaron Rodgers throw? That's
17.
Because they only beat him by 3. Come on, man.
Jimmy Garoppolo cannot throw more than 25 passes a game, and that's why the 49ers got to 2 NFC championship games with him, because Kyle Shanahan won't let him throw more than 25 passes a game because he's not stupid.
I'd rather have Jimmy G as my quarterback in the playoffs than Aaron Rodgers. I tell you that.
I wouldn't.
I tell you that.
Are we vetting people when they come on this show? Are we vetting? Gonzo, do we have a vet department?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, you do. You have a sports betting show. You have a
Aaron Rodgers not a top 20 quarterback, and I said it first. Well, Tony Hollins said it first. I just reiterated Tony.
No, Jay, you got it wrong. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest regular season quarterback I've ever seen.
No. that belongs to Dak Prescott. No. I'm not going to let you take away.
Dak Prescott is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen in garbage time.
Hey, hold on. Rob Scott. I'm not going to let you take Rob Scott. I'm not letting you take away the one accolade that the Cowboys have. Now, listen, granted, we're not a Super Bowl team. I get it. But God dang it, you're not going to take away my regular season quarterback award that Prescott deserves.
Dak Prescott is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen in garbage time. That's just
in regular season. No,
it's not even about the regular season. If it's 3 minutes left in the game and the game is out of reach, Dak Prescott will perform.
Hey, David said, Rob, stop smoking. It's getting to your damn head.
Never. What you think I'm doing that now?
No, but but it is interesting. I think to see this year's crop and where they go from here, only because when you look at what the AFC West has accomplished and their teams and how they've gotten better, and then you look at Dallas and the NFC East and how the whole division has gotten a little bit better. And then you look at other divisions where some teams have gotten better, some teams have gotten worse. You got the Bills in there. You got the Tua and the Miamis where we don't know what Tua's going to do. He could go good. He could go bad. I know a lot of people think that Tua is going to bomb. But again, you don't know that for sure. And Miami on paper, Miami on paper at every position looks pretty damn good. The only unknown is at quarterback. So what I'm saying is
head
this
coach.
season
say the
has a
same
lot
thing
of
about
unknowns.
Philadelphia.
Huh?
You say the same thing about Philadelphia. It's all
Well,
dependent on the
exactly. I mean,
quarterback play.
and again, you got Philadelphia. All I'm saying is when you look at last year versus this year, there's so many unknowns that it makes the season a lot more intriguing and interesting because we don't know how it's truly going to unravel.
I like that name. You should keep that name. And not saying I don't like Frankie the Yankee, but Foxborough Frankie got a nice ring to it. I'm just saying.
It's my football year gimmick, Rob. That's my football year gimmick,
I like
baby.
it.
He only had to take that because Frankie Montas took his name.
Yeah, I took it because
I'm gonna tell
Frankie,
you this
like
though.
he said, he tried to take
I
my
get
name.
you, but there's only one Frankie the Yankee.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. CJ, you can learn something a little from Rob.
Why? Because Rob is saying what I already know. Frankie, do you need me to give you that validation to back you up? Is that what you need, Frankie? Are you so insecure in our friendship that you need that validation?
Yeah, I do, because Rob never said since Frankie Montas went to the Yankees, he took Frankie's name as Frankie the Yankee. He's never said that. He straight up just said live that I only acknowledge one person that's truly Frankie the Yankee, and I'm
look, look, you can recognize it all you want as long as you give Montas the credit because I think he copyrighted it. If you don't, you're gonna lose money.
I give Montas nothing.
You don't give Montas anything. He's lucky to be wearing pinstripes right now, damn it.
I don't think nobody's lucky to be wearing pinstripes. But yeah, I've been watching baseball enough to know the Yankees ain't been winning.
They're not been winning. They haven't. They really haven't. You know what? I don't even want to get on that topic.
He went there. I was trying to be nice to Frankie. Oh, he went right for the heart.
No, not for the heart. It's just even Frankie disowned the Yankees. I never thought I was.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen, if we're getting into baseball, if anybody does not see what Atlanta is doing and how well Atlanta is playing, and you're overlooking Atlanta, and all you see is the Dodgers or the Cardinals or the Mets, and you don't see the Atlanta Braves and Strider and Wright amongst Fried and the others, I'm telling you, man, this Atlanta team, they're the real deal. And don't be surprised. I'm going to tell you right now, Frankie.
Logan's team?
I'm going to tell you right now, Frankie, watch out, man. I'm telling you, the Braves damn sure can wind up in the World Series. I watched them.
To watch out.
Ain't that Logan's team?
It is Logan's team. Yeah.
I don't need to watch out because I don't need to watch out because we don't play the Braves this regular season. I don't have to worry about them
I'm just saying this Braves team is going to shock people, man. I'm telling you, they're going to shock people.
Who do y'all think is going to win the World Series? Who y'all think going to win it all in baseball?
It's for me. It's four teams that I can see right now, and I'm going to be honest with you. If the Yankees keep playing the way they're playing, they are not on my top four. They're probably 5 right now. But on 4, my top 4, it's got to be number 1. And it's gonna kill me to say it. Number 1, it's gonna be the Houston Astros, because literally their bullpen is insane. Their pitching is outstanding. They honestly they can be down 3-0 and find ways to try and tie up the game or at least bring it into a close game to make it more interesting. And that's not me, and that's not me, being biased to Jay because I love Jay so much. That's just me being.
No, I know y'all got y'all really got a rivalry when it.
Yeah, me and Jay have a huge.
So I know that was tough. Rivalry. That was tough for you to say, but that was a big man of you. That was a big.
But that's why I respect Frankie, because at the end of the day, Frankie, Frankie has his personal strong beliefs, but Frankie is also a good podcaster, and he is also able to be unbiased when he knows. The right answer. And I'm not saying that Houston's the right answer, but the fact that he can recognize and see where Houston is based on the metrics of our pitching and our hitting, that's and again, that's like me talking about the Atlanta Braves. I'm telling you, I'm looking at the Atlanta Braves and unbiasedly, I can look at them and be like, yeah, the Dodgers may be on top. I get it. Right now, they're the top team in baseball. But I'm telling you, Just because you're the damn top team, and Frankie will be the first one to attach. Just because you're the top team, don't make you the best team. And right now, Atlanta is gaining momentum every single week. And I'm telling you, this team is the real freaking deal, man.
What about
And I think
Gonzo?
the Astros and
Dustin, who y'all think?
and I would not be Rob. I'm gonna call it right now. I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna call it right now because I want people on this show to hear me clearly. That it's gonna be Astros and Braves World Series Part 2.
No. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
I mean, and I get that. What I've seen from the Braves makes me believe that.
It's not gonna happen, Jay. You want to know why? I don't think the Braves are strong enough just yet. They're strong, but they're not strong enough yet to beat either the New York Mets or the LA Dodgers in the postseason. I don't think they're just.
I'm telling you, Frankie. I think you're gonna when you see Strider pitch and when you see Wright pitch. And you see the way they hit that ball, it's gonna change your mind. I'm just being honest. It's gonna change your mind, man. I'm telling you.
I don't know, but we'll see. But I got.
Oh, by the way, Strider has the mustache just like Cortez does, and I don't know what it is about this damn mustache crap. But Cortez, Strider, Carpenter, before he got hurt, all had this damn single mustache crap, and I'm telling you. They're playing hot, and I don't know what it's about a mustache, but I'm about to write my congressman in Houston and have it be a mandate that all the Astros grow a damn mustache with no beard.
Well, Altuve has to grow facial hair in order for him to do that. But
hey, I'll draw it in if I have to. I'll draw it in, or I'll take some of Gonzo's facial hair and send it in if I have to.
I like to call it the magic stash. That's what I like to call it. But
I'm telling you, hey. It's the year of the stash. I'm telling you, it's the year of the stash. I don't know what it is about that mustache, but in baseball, these guys that have these mustaches, I'm telling you, they're killing it. They're killing it. Crazy.
So I got the Astros, I got the Dodgers, I got the Mets, and you're going to be surprisingly on this one for the last one. If it's not the Yankees, if they don't turn it around, and it's not the Yankees, no lie, guys, it's going to be the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners.
I didn't see that one. Look. I didn't see the Seattle Mariners play, and I didn't see that one coming.
It's gonna be Seattle, man. Don't sleep on Seattle.
Tony Gonzalez, if you're out there, you might as well just go on ahead and say Frankie's smoking a blunt. Because if you're gonna call me out for drinking, you better call Frankie out for smoking.
That's exactly what I'm doing, Jay. That's exactly what I'm doing.
I like the Mets, and I'm gonna stick with my preseason prediction of the Mets and the Yankees in the World Series. I'm gonna stick with it.
Well, you know what they say, Gonzo, full in his money or soon parted. So I don't know.
I still love Chris for that. Chris, every time I come on the show with you, bro, you just you give me more hope to keep my eyes open on the Yankees and don't give up hope. But it's just too late, bro. Just stop already. Just stop. Like I've been telling Jay, they need to finish out August strong and finish out September on a bang. And I don't see that happening. For one, we have the next 2 series against the Mets tonight and tomorrow. We have to deal with Max Scherzer against the Mets. Who when we're playing against him, who do we decide to put on the mound? Domingo Germán. Why? Okay, whatever. That's a loss. I already know. Then tomorrow, we're playing against Jacob deGrom. What in the hell?
When do you get Severino back? Have they said when Severino is due back? I know he's coming back soon. So is Stanton. I know Stanton is supposed to be coming out of AAA soon.
Yeah, Stanton should be back this week. If not in the middle of this week, most definitely towards the weekend, he's going to be back. Luis Severino, I haven't heard much on him yet. He's still on the IL. I still believe he's going to come.
Wait a minute, though, but Severino actually Severino threw games against Stanton in AAA. So I know Severino is throwing the ball in games.
but because he's our one of our I want to say the ace because that's Garrett Cole's position, but he is one of the ace players. I just feel that Aaron Boone is just going to be real careful with Luis Severino. I feel like he's going to wait a couple more weeks, probably into September, because he knows that he's going to need Luis Severino's arm come October if we make the postseason or when, if we have to play a wild card or whatever it is, because it's not looking good for the Yankees right now. We don't know what's going to happen. But if that does, or if that is the scenario, that's the best choice for Aaron Boone is to just hold on to Severino as long as you can, and just ride out. And then, like, once October comes, that's when you're gonna throw Luis Severino in there, or at least a little bit before that, so that way he can get his arm into the rhythm of coming into the postseason ready for a bang. Stanton's gonna come back this week. And also, the guy that we traded for the St. Louis Cardinals, he's actually Bader. I just got news on him that he's actually rehabbing, and he should be coming back soon as well.
Man,
Okay,
go
number
White
one,
Sox.
Nobody cares about Bader and his 246 average. Him coming back really is no fair. I will say this.
Hey, I'll take a 246 average over a
Frankie, let me say this.
196.
I know, but Frankie, I think we have to officially drop the term ace and Cole in the same sentence when he's got a 3.46 ERA. We're going to drop him about number 3 or number 4 in the rotation and give your true ace, Nestor Cortez, the number 1 spot.
I would like Nestor Cortez to have the number 1 spot, but I like him at the number 3 because when the postseason comes, Jay, what if we're down 2 games to nothing? Nestor Cortez can be that third guy to at least give us a chance to fight back in the series and, give us that third win. Or at least if we're down, or we're tied 1-1, he can give us that lead advantage to go up 2-1 in the postseason. So I like where he's at, but I don't care what you say about Garrett Cole. He's still our ace. My man can still go in there and go 6 inning shutout, sometimes even 7 inning shutouts. So I'm not gonna stay here and say that Garrett Cole's not my ace. He's definitely my ace.
Or he goes in 6 innings and gives up 4 runs and 5 hits. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do at this point.
You can blame that on him, or you can blame that on the defense that are not jumping over the wall.
No. I'm blaming it strictly on him. I'm blaming it on him.
You can also blame it on Aaron Hicks because of what he's playing in center field, not really playing really well as he's supposed to. So don't just blame it on Garrett Cole. If you're gonna watch my team and watch my game and try and come back on some knowledge on Garrett Cole, you better come back on some knowledge on the defense as well, Jay.
I'll give you that.
Gonzo, Dustin, who you have win the World Series?
I still have the New York Mets coming out of the National League mainly because I don't see a scenario where anybody's going to be able to beat Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom 4 times in a best-of-7 series. I just don't. I mean, you have Chris Bassett, who's had a great year this year. He's going to be their number 3 in the playoffs. Taijuan Walker's had a great year. He's going to be their number 4 in the playoffs. But Scherzer and DeGrom are going to be your 1 and 2. And in a best-of-7 series, you're going to have to face each one of those guys twice.
Let me ask you this. Based on what you're saying, and I'm not going to sit there and dispute DeGrom or Scherzer. We know what they bring to the table. But let me ask you this. How much do you know in Wright or Strider for the Braves? I'm just asking because I watch those guys pitch. How much do you know about those 2 guys? I'm just asking.
Strider's going to be legit. The other guy I haven't seen much of, but the key to all this is playoff experience. And Scherzer and DeGrom both have it.
Let me help you out, Dustin. Fried is the number 1 ace for the Atlanta Braves. At the bottom of the rotation, right around at number 3, you got Strider, and then I believe number 4, you got Wright. Strider's got a 2.95 ERA. I saw Wright, and I'm going to tell you right now, Houston has a damn good-ass offense, and if you don't think Houston got an offense, you got another thing coming. I'm just telling you.
And
what I've seen that Wright did against the Houston Astros and how he limited their hits and their runs makes me a little bit concerned in terms of this team. I'm telling you, I know you like DeGrom. I know you like Scherzer. I do too. I think they're phenomenal. But I think the Atlanta Braves rotation 1 through 4 is a lot scarier than the Mets. And I've seen it because we swept the Mets.
Okay? Hey, Jay, let me ask you this.
And by the way, the Braves just beat the Mets.
Jay, when you say ace in this rotation you're talking about, for us non-baseball people out there, what are you referring to?
So ace is like your number 1 guy.
Are you talking about hitting rotation?
No.
Ace is in your pitching. Okay. Ace is like your pitcher. He's like your number 1 guy, the guy that you put on the mound that is going to get you or should get you the guaranteed win based off of that.
So a Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, Clayton Kershaw, Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, like those.
Yeah, those are all ace type Well, again, Cole's got a 3.46, so let's not use that ace right now too loosely.
You want to know why Jay's saying this, Rob? Because Garrett Cole had the smart decision to leave the Houston Astros and come wear pinstripes because he didn't want to be called a cheater. Like
he left because he knew who had the money. But and again, Garrett Cole left the Astros, yet the Astros went to the World Series. Yankees haven't, and right now the Yankees are looking. Hold on, and right now the Yankees look like a dumpster fire. But and I think Garrett Cole is thinking like something different.
That's cool, Jay. But answer.
But hold on a minute, hold on. But I want to go back to Strider just for a second.
No. Do not say that and then try and say, hold on. Let me say what I gotta say. If you're gonna say something about my team, you're gonna let me finish what I gotta say. Don't try and do that. This is unscripted. This isn't unscripted.
All right, Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua again.
Because he wants to sidestep it because he knows what I'm about to come with, and he's gonna have a rough answer on this one.
I want to go back to Dustin with Strider.
Lonzo, we got to talk about that too. That was a good fight.
Answer my question real quick.
We will talk about that.
Since you guys got rid of Garrett Cole and he came to the Yankees, the Astros have went to the World Series, but have y'all won without Garrett Cole?
I don't know. Did we win just last season? No. I just want to know. Did we just win the last series? I'm confused.
You're not answering my question.
I did ask you a question. No, you said, have we won? I said, clearly we have. Clearly everybody here knows. Houston changed the franchise of New York during this year.
Dusty, you see what he's doing, right? You see this.
What am I doing? I'm giving you facts.
Here's the question again. You ready? Since the Houston Astros got rid of Garrett Cole for the Yankees, yes, your team has been to the World Series, but have you guys won a title since getting rid of Garrett Cole?
You didn't say title. That's not what you said in the initial beginning.
I said World Series. It's the same thing.
It's a moot point talking to Frankie right now. I love him. He's my brother in crime, but I can't.
You can't come with an answer. Because you can't come with an answer. It's okay. I understand.
Okay, Frankie, I'll cede it. I'll cede the question to you. I'll cede it. I'll cede my position. Yes, Frankie, you're correct. Hold on. I want to go back to Strider for 1 second, though. Hey, Dustin, this is one other thing I want to point out. He's got 151 Ks, and he's got a 1.02 whip. I'm telling you, the guy does not really let people on base, and when he does, he doesn't let them score, and his strikeouts are stupid.
No, I agree. He's a very great pitcher, but when it comes down to the playoffs, I'm still going to go with experience over non-experience. And yes, Max Fried and Charlie.
Wait, hold on. No, wait. I'm about to say, are we saying that Atlanta don't have experience?
No, like Max Fried and Charlie Morton have the playoff experience in that rotation.
Yeah, I get that.
If you have a game 7 and it's Strider against Jacob deGrom, I'm going Jake deGrom every time. In a game 7, I'm going Max Scherzer every single time in a game 7 if it's between those two guys.
But explain to me this: how did Atlanta just come off a really beautiful series win against you guys or them guys?
It's
depending on who your team is. I don't know who your team is, but
it's the regular season though. It happens.
I get that.
Look at the Cubs. Look at the Cubs and the Brewers this weekend. The Brewers are fighting for a playoff spot right now, and the Cubs just took 2 or 3 from Milwaukee and did it actually pretty easily. It's going to happen in the regular season where you're going to lose series to certain teams. But when you get to the playoffs and it's a completely different mindset, yes, the Braves have that experience from winning the World Series last year, but looking at that starting rotation outside of Charlie Morton and Max Fried, everybody else in that New York rotation has the playoff experience outside of Taijuan Walker, and he's going to be their number 4.
If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not going to knock the experience thing because I get that. But again, I want to point out that, like you said, Fried, the top 2 pitchers, I forget who the second guy is, but Fried, the 2 pitchers with Atlanta do have the experience, as we know. Now, Fried and Wright and Strider, I agree they don't. But then again, does the number 3 and number 4 in the Mets rotation have playoff experience?
Chris
or
Bassett
even World Series experience?
Chris Bassett has playoff experience with Oakland.
And what was his ERA and what was his record in that playoffs?
He was 0-0 with an even 3 because he made 1 start.
Okay, so that's my point. Basically, look, 1 start. Come on, let's get real. That's like no damn experience. Okay, and that's my point. I don't think we can say that the Mets. I'm not even going to say that the Mets are clear cut. I'm not going to say the Braves are clear cut. But what I will say is, I think what the Mets or what the Braves are showing right now, and the momentum that they're riding, and the rotation that they have, and the hitting that they have, I'm telling you, don't be surprised when you see the Braves in the World Series. I'll leave it at that. But it's crazy.
I mean, didn't the Braves have the same? They had the same people early on in the season when the Mets swept them in the regular season, and the Mets didn't.
They did again, but again, so did the Yankees at the beginning of their season, and look where the Yankees are now. So, and I'm using that as an example, as you can't really look at where they were then and where they are now, because right now the Braves are on a high momentum, but they've also brought up a couple of people like Von Grissom. They brought up the other guy, Harris, out of the minors, and look what they're doing. They're freaking killing.
You're saying you can't go by that, but your number one argument was the Braves just beat the Mets in a series.
No, yes, that's my point.
You can't go by that now, but you can't go by that earlier in the year. You can't pick and choose when a series matters.
That's not. Well, yes, you can. Absolutely, yes, you can. Because whoever's riding the momentum,
matters to the playoffs.
What matters most going into the look? And I think everybody would look. We all talk about it. When you go into the postseason, we all know that when you're riding the momentum going into the postseason, you know what that leads to.
This is August. It's too early to ride momentum into the.
And you say it's August, but you know what? Last time I checked, it's 31 games. 31 games till the postseason. So don't come up with August, because then I'll come at you with freaking preseason. No, my point.
All I'm saying is you can't put a whole lot of stock into a series in August. You just can't.
I don't see how you,
especially when the pitching.
Well, okay, maybe you don't put the whole cow in there, but you got at least maybe almost 3/4 of a cow at the slaughterhouse at this point. Almost 3/4 of a cow. I'm just saying. Maybe you get the genitalia at the end. I don't know.
But what you were talking about, like Max Fried in that too. Max Fried's earned run average during the regular season is a 3.16. His playoff ERA is a 4.4. So it's almost a run and a half worse in the playoffs than it is in the regular season.
Absolutely. No, I get that, because last year when you watched the World Series, the Braves didn't win the World Series with starting pitching.
No, they didn't.
They won the World Series with their bullpen.
Yeah.
And they also won the World Series because the pickups that they had, mainly Soler, which they got rid of Soler, if you know that. You know, Soler was a huge factor in that World Series run, but also their bullpen was a big factor. And this year, they got a better starting rotation than they had last year. And they have still really good hitters in that lineup. You saw they brought in Olsen. You see what Von Grissom's doing. You see what Austin Riley's doing. I mean, and then you got Dansby Swanson, which is, in my opinion, is a very underrated hitter. So, I mean, you can't look past this Braves team. They got hitting, just like the Mets got hitting, right? I mean, you got what's his face, the guy that just did the home run derby, and then they got thank you, Pete Alonso. I apologize. but hey, look, but we know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Pete Alonso, and then you got the other guy, Lindor. I mean, they have good hitters. They have hitters on their team. They also have. I'm not saying the Braves are going to run away with it. I'm not saying it's going to be a cakewalk. But I do believe that at the end of the day, I think like the Braves did last year when they came out of last place and then they came in down there in the World Series and winning the pennant. And I told them, don't look past the Braves until you get to the 27th out. Don't look past the Braves. And I'm telling you, I learned from last year and I see what they're doing this year. And I watched them over the last 4 games and what this team can do. And it's pretty scary.
All I know is right now, Chris' dad is going crazy in the comments, and I am over here busting up.
Damn, Mr. Gonzalez! I thought we were friends.
That is true. That is true, though. That is true. That's no lie, because baseball is crazy. Anything can happen.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, the chances of the Yankees turning this series around or becoming a magically great team again like they did in the first half before they met the Astros and the doom of their destruction is the same chances as me becoming an African-American and enjoying the United College Fund. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen.
Oh, my goodness.
It ain't going to happen. Unless I go to the stands, it ain't going to happen.
This is coming from someone who thinks his team is unstoppable, but yet they make the World Series and only win 1 out of the 4 World Series.
Oh no, we're stoppable. I'm gonna tell you right now, we're stoppable. Did you see the Braves? Did you just see the last series with the Braves and the Astros? We got our asses kicked.
I don't really care about that because you know why? One of your best players went out with shorting his breath, so that gave the Braves a win. another game where you know, I don't give a damn about the Braves, Jay. Why are you caring about the Braves? Why you sound so scared?
I'm not caring about them.
Braves?
I'm not caring
You
about
sound
them,
scared.
but I see what they bring to. No, I care about them because I see what they bring to the table. Frank, you ever heard the phrase?
I
Hey,
think
keep your
Jay's about
friends
ready to switch
close,
over to be a
keep your
Braves
enemies
fan.
closer.
I feel like he's about to be a Braves fan too since he's in the state of Georgia. He might as well
Oh, they
represent the
questioning your
Braves.
astroism.
I'm getting confused.
Hey, he said we couldn't beat him last year, so I'm going to join him. He's becoming a Braves fan all of a
Hey,
sudden.
hey, Gonzo, don't go there, Gonzo. Don't you become don't you go there, Gonzo. Gonzo went there. He can go in timeout for
How
a
you
minute.
gonna kick the host out?
Gonzo could go in timeout for a minute.
Wow, what a time to be alive for Gonzo to say that today.
Got to put Gonzo in timeout. Gonzo to get a timeout for a minute.
Hey, speaking of ass whoop, did y'all see the fight this weekend?
Bro.
I didn't see it, but I saw the kick to his face and some of the highlights.
I think Rob's talking about the boxing.
I saw the
I didn't see the boxing.
I saw the highlight of the Usman fight, but I had to see this Anthony Joshua fight. I'm thinking, hey, Anthony Joshua.
I think he got robbed.
He ain't been the same since Ruiz knocked him out, man.
Fury.
Nah, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real with you, Rob. I think he got robbed.
No, Usyk won that fight.
I haven't got to watch it. Yeah, I've heard.
Usyk won that fight.
Said that they thought Usyk won.
Usyk won that fight. Usyk was more sharper than Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua was just swinging.
I know.
Here's
Anthony
what I
Joshua.
Let me ask you, but
what is the deal with
Fury? Is Fury retired now?
Fury is waiting on a fight that's worth his while. I think if him and Usyk go for to unify the titles, he'll fight him.
I think it's already
right because Joshua was not really considered to be.
No, Anthony Joshua is no longer champion. Usyk beat him already. This is
right. No, that's what I'm saying. But Fury's not necessarily looking at Joshua or anything like that.
No. Joshua now is like on Deontay Wilder's.
He's on the back of the line, Jay. He got to work his way back up.
He's back in the line now. Like
he lost.
So when do you think that there will be a unification bout of the belts?
Well, now I think it's going to be even sooner. Maybe. Well, I'll say maybe next year. I was thinking maybe October, but maybe next year.
Yeah,
let me ask you a question. We know how much the purses were. Hey, we know how much the purses were when Floyd Mayweather was boxing.
Nobody's getting that type of money, but
that's what I'm saying. So a Fury fight, a unification of the belts fight, would not necessarily hit the monetary value of what Floyd Mayweather fights.
It'll generate some revenue because people are starting to get back into boxing, but Mayweather had a different appeal when it came to people would pay to see him lose, and he just wouldn't lose. But and Mayweather knew how to promote. I don't feel like boxing to me hasn't really been good at marketing, and unless you're a great boxer that can market yourself, like Oscar De La Hoya marketed himself. Like a lot of people didn't watch boxing, but they knew who Oscar De La Hoya was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, certain things you have to do to make yourself a household name. So I think Tyson Fury is becoming a household name because he's putting himself in different avenues. Like he was on wrestling. He does different things where his name can get out there. And not to mention the way he knocked out Deontay Wilder, especially to the African-American community. We know who Tyson Fury is now.
Right. Hey, let me ask you this, though, because you talked about how boxing was hurting for marketing and things like that. We kind of know what Live Golf is doing to the PGA in terms of revenue and things like that. MMA to boxing, it seems like MMA has taken a lot of the thunder away from boxing. Now that we have MMA, UFC, Bellator, all this stuff. At some point, is boxing going to become a forgotten sport and just die off because of MMA?
No.
I'm just asking a question.
Never. I think that's an okay question. But go ahead, Chris. My bad.
I think the biggest problem boxing has right now is you have so many different organizations, and you really don't have a top organization. Like with MMA, you have UFC, which is considered your top organization. Then you have your Bellators, and you have other. Well, boxing, you have so many different championships, so many different organizations. They need to get down to one organization that's supposed to be like the top organization that means the most. And I think more people would get behind it. Then it's just boxing. You got to kind of look for it more than you do like MMA and some of the other sports.
Hey, that's
and not
very
just
true.
and not
That's
just
very
that. Boxing now is like looking at it where anybody can come in and try and make a fight. You got celebrities all around the world literally saying, "Oh, I think I'm a boxer. I can go in that boxing ring and fight." So you got all
I
these
was
boxing
thought that
promotions.
too. You know, did Conor McGregor and Jake Paul? You know, did they actually hurt the boxing realm? You know, coming into it thinking they could do it. Did that kind of almost like make light of boxing?
I don't think it hurt it.
Nate
To
Robinson
me personally, I don't think it hurt it. I actually, because to be honest, it kind of brought different eyes to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Nate
casual eyes
Robinson.
that don't right. I mean,
and let me ask you a question, guys. And again, this is coming from a guy who knows a little bit about boxing.
And what hurt boxing, and what else hurt boxing too is about 20 years ago now, 20, 30 years ago now, you would get all these judges that were terrible and people started believing that the fights were fixed.
yeah.
And that turned a lot of people away from boxing for a long time.
Yeah.
You know who's going to bring back all those people into boxing? Robert Duran Jr. Because my man is about to win a championship next month. Let's go.
Yes,
Team
sir.
Duran.
Hey, I hope he does, man. Robert Duran Jr., if you're watching this fight, man, you know Unscripted and Frankie C got you.
Hey, shout out to him, man. You know, letting us get the interview on Unscripted. That was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we need to see him back on Unscripted. Rob, if you watch it, man, hey, we want you back, man, so we can talk some more craziness with you. We appreciate you coming on last go around, and I hope you really do get that championship because you deserve it, brother. I know you've been putting the work in, so you deserve it.
But Chris, you brought up an interesting point with the different organizations within boxing, because you do got WBC, WBF, IBF. Like it's so much.
IBC too. I think IBC.
You know, you got the lineal championship, the TV champion. Like it's so much. It's like you don't even know who to watch. Like you be like, oh, he's the lightweight champ, but he's the lightweight champ too, and that's the lightweight champ too. Like when you look for champions, you want it to really be one definitive champion. You know, so that's the
is that really what hurt boxing, or is I think hurt boxing is you lost
because you don't really know who to cheer for, and the promoters hurt boxing.
Well, that's true. I'll give you that. That's true. That's true.
Promoters stopped giving people the fights that people wanted to see because it became such a money thing. Like,
well, let me ask you this though, Rob. When's the last time we really seen a heavy? Look, I always thought heavyweight boxing. That's really all I really paid attention to. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really kind of paid attention to a lot more to the heavyweights than I did anything else. And there's no knock on Fury or Wilder or Joshua or anybody else. But I just miss the days of boxers like that had great skill, that were in shape, that gave you take for example. You can start off with Tyson. Look how great in shape Tyson was. Then you go into an Evander Holyfield who was great in shape, looked apart, had the skill sets, all that. Muhammad Ali's, Lennox Lewis's, and so
the
forth.
Klitschko brothers.
We don't have those kind of boxers anymore. We got the overweight. Bro, we got the overweight bull crap. I'm trying to say bull crap because I'm trying to clean up my language. But we got the overweight bull crap that we got nowadays. I just look at the boxers in the heavyweight division now.
Hey, Fury's he might look out of shape, but he's a skilled boxer, dude. He's a real skilled boxer.
But let me ask you this: if we're going pound for pound and in their prime, does he beat an Evander Holyfield in his prime?
I don't think you can quickly say he'll lose. Because
no, I'm not saying he would lose either. I'm not going to say that.
With the way Fury boxes. Fury hits hard, first of all. We saw that with Deontay Wilder. Like, he hits hard. And second of all, he can take a punch. And not to mention, he's so tall and big, he knows how to play the weight game of leaning on you and putting his weight on you and getting you
But again,
tired.
if you look at somebody like Evander, who's a quick guy, kind of like a Floyd Mayweather. He's like a Floyd Mayweather of the heavyweight division. No, he is. What I'm saying is, when you look at a guy like Fury, I've watched him box a couple times. He's not as athletic,
but
and his movement. No, that plays a part.
He's bad. Evander's one of the greats, but Hey.
I mean, have you ever? I mean,
it's
Rob,
gonna be a fight.
I don't know how old you are, Robin. Have you've seen Evander fights, right?
It's gonna be. I've seen him fight. I've been a boxing fan for quite some time. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's gonna be a fight, bro. It's not what you thinking. Like Fury gonna cut, and Fury got hands, bro.
And but Evander doesn't.
No, you're not saying Evander doesn't, but I don't think you really diminishing how skilled Fury is. Fury is quick for somebody his size, bro. Like he's lightning quick for a 7-foot dude. The way he can go in and out of them jabs and move his head around on a swivel like that. That dude is very skilled, bro.
Well, of course he can move that head on his swivel. It's a small head on a big body.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. A Lennox Lewis, a Muhammad Ali.
Now, Lennox Lewis, I think.
Hold on. But what I'm saying is,
might put them hands on Fury. But
I guess what I'm saying is, that's true. That's true. Lennox was a good guy. But when you look at a Lennox Lewis, a Muhammad Ali, a Mike Tyson, or a Evander Holyfield, there's a lot of marketability in those guys. That there was a story behind them. It was there was a lot of really good boxers of equal value at that time. Like I understand how good Fury is, but is everybody else just as good or equal to him? And I don't think they are. I'm just saying. I think boxing back in the day, like you said to your original point, number one had great promotions. Number two, they were marketable guys who had personalities. And number three, they had equal competition. I mean, I think boxing back then was and everything that it entailed was better than boxing is today. You know what I'm saying?
The fighters were different too. The fighters, we wanted to fight the fights that people wanted to see because they wanted
that's true. You're right. You're right.
That I could beat this dude because they understood if I can't beat this dude, I use Ali just as a perfect example, even though Ali is before my time. But to go back and watch the tapes on Ali and to watch the film, the documentaries, the movies, like to see how this dude operated, like you real life had to kill him to beat him. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he wanted it that bad and he fought everybody. He fought freaking George Foreman. He wasn't ducking and dodging no smoke.
You know how much weight George Foreman had on Ali?
I mean, that's ultimately what was his timely demise.
And that's my thing. I think the fighters now are just as talented as some of the fighters back then, but you don't get to see the fighters now all grouped together because, like I said, there's so many different organizations. Your casual boxing fan don't know where to go to just get to watch the guys they want to watch.
Because you got Showtime boxing, HBO boxing, ESPN boxing. It's so much.
Oh, by the way, Hey, Rob, Evander's son, Young Holy, is coming up the ranks. You know that, right?
Young Holyfield?
Yeah, man. Hey, a good friend of mine, Termite Watkins, is training him out of the fight. I think it's Fight Night Gym in Houston. I think it's what it's called. But he's coming out of Houston under my friend, Termite Watkins, and that's his manager. And, yeah, man, Young Holy, he's going to be a good one to reckon with too, man. He's got a couple of wins under his belt. I think he's going to do a lot of good things like his pops did.
Yeah. We got a good future of boxing coming. We got a young Duran, young Holyfield. We got a young Ali coming. Like it's going to be.
I think it's funny how some of these boxers' sons and stuff are coming up now.
And, it's like that. It's not even just boxing. You look at
baseball.
Look at all these kids. Look at Bronny. If people talking about Bronny, I say, hell, have you seen Bryce? The young one is the dog. If you and
that's the thing though too. Now
Bryce is gonna be huge.
If Bronny goes to college, is he gonna play with his dad?
I think he is. I think Bronny's gonna be able to make it to the NBA.
By the time Bronny gets to the NBA, goes to college. He gonna make LeBron James look like Uncle Drew.
I just my only thing with that is I don't know when he's gonna make it to the NBA because from what I've seen from Bronny, I don't think he's gonna be a one and done. I don't think
he's gonna be his pops though. I think he's gonna be a lesser version.
No, bro. See, and that's what a lot of people. That's the problem of coming from greatness. you got to understand, it's a lot that goes into being great. It's not just practice. It's not just.
Oh no, absolutely.
Some of that stuff is God-given ability. It's just like
And you
he
got to
knows
figure
how to do
Bronny's
that
only half
because
Bron.
that's what he knows how to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
well, think about it. LeBron James Jr. is only half LeBron. He's only got half that DNA. The other half is from the wife. So
you know,
you got to figure how much did from the Pops' lineage did he really capture in terms of basketball talent.
Yeah, it's tough playing for Greg because I look at Jordan kids. You know, me being from Chicago, I've seen them and they were trash. I mean, Marcus was okay, but the older one, he wasn't I think his name Jeffrey. He wasn't that good at all. You know.
Yeah, well, just because you're the best of ever and played the game doesn't mean your sons are going to be the best. I mean, and some of them. Hey, look, Magic Johnson's son. I think he's in fashion. I don't think he's even playing basketball.
Yeah, that's a different conversation, but
it is. I didn't want to start the conversation. That's why I said fashion.
Real quick before we get out here, what did you guys think of Edwards kicking Usman's head off?
Oh
Saturday
my God, that was. You
That's
ever heard the term night? Everybody go night.
He said night.
That was a nasty kick, man.
That was
out of nowhere too. That was
he was literally 58 seconds away from winning.
Yeah, he was winning a fight.
Yeah,
he was.
Listen, you can be doing a lot of things, but when you get that kick to the jawline, I don't care what you do before the jawline, but once it hits the jawline, everything at that point doesn't matter.
What was crazy about it is if you watch it, his shin hits his nose, and then it also hits the back. It also hits the back of the dude's head. It was like it wrapped around his head.
And you knew it was a knockout when you see them toes point like that. When you see them toes point like that, boy, that's a knockout. That's a knockout. Ain't no getting up from that. You gotta think about that for a second.
I think Edwards is probably gonna lose the rematch, but
Usman gonna come out for blood. But I mean, that's the beauty of fighting. Yep. Like you could be winning a fight, but you open yourself up for that one shot. All it takes is that one shot. But remind me of playing Fight Night, and you get that flash KO. You remember that flash? You see that white light hit the screen. You put somebody lights out. You know what I'm saying? Your dad posed a good question.
Usman was up 3-1 in that fight.
Yeah. Oh, he was winning the fight. He was winning like Frankie said, 58 seconds, and it's over with. You retain the title. You the champ. You win. You still undefeated. You good, or not undefeated, but you still good. But man, Lord Jesus, that kick was nasty. I mean, that was the first thing I seen on ESPN. I was like, Lord Jesus. I had to go look at that on YouTube. Like, golly, what did you? What my question was, what were you doing beforehand to get caught like that? And it was just like, man, he opened himself up nasty.
Yeah. He fell for that jab.
Yeah, that jab. When
he fell for it and he just ducked right into a kick.
He opened himself up. Hi-ya! Ninja Turtle, my man, right in the face. Hey, but your dad posed a good question though. Usyk versus Fury. Oh my goodness. I might have to still go Fury. I like Usyk though, but I think you saw when that fight Anthony Joshua gave him problems. That's because Joshua is technically the bigger man with the longer reach. Usyk was able to get under that. I don't think you get under that when it comes to Fury. I think Fury just that skilled. You gonna fight the fight that he wants you to fight.
I think Fury. I like Fury in the fight as well.
Yeah. I love a good fight. That's all.
Oh yeah, and then Damien.
Stop lying. You about to say you love Fury?
That Costa and Rockhold fight. That fight was fun to watch as well.
Nah, I can't forgive Fury, man. I was going for Deontay Wilder, man. I knew Fury was gonna win, but I thought Deontay can catch him with that glorified bomb shot, that drop shot, and when he did catch him in the 11th round, man, I thought it was over with. And Fury popped up like the Undertaker. I said, damn.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. No lie though. Fury literally he had like a Rocky Balboa type moment. He like went down and like he literally grabbed the ropes and was like, "Nah, bro, I ain't done. What are you doing?"
I said, and hold on, and then he finished the rest of the fight. The man was. I was like, Lord Jesus, that man got a chin of steel.
Honestly, since then, I don't know if Wilder's really won a round against Fury.
Man, Wilder ain't coming. I don't even think Wilder coming back to boxing, bro. I think he's done.
He got embarrassed.
Took away his heart.
Yeah, he got embarrassed
twice. Because that last fight, because everybody kept saying, okay, the first fight, you know what I'm saying?
That draw was bull, yeah.
Man, that second and third fight, Fury didn't leave nothing to the imagination, bro. He whooped that man.
Could you imagine going up against a 7-footer in a boxing match? That would scare the crap even out of me, damn it.
But it's different. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes Fury so scary. It's not just you going up against a 7-footer. You going up against a skilled 7-footer that's fast.
Yeah.
He ain't moving like the Big Show or nothing, bro. Like, he moves. Like, you see this dude coming for you at that type of speed, that's scary, bro. The Gypsy
his punch is hard, bro. His punches are hard.
Man, they was questioning whether or not he had something in his glove. He hit that.
Yeah, they thought he had like
equilibrium out.
Because
everybody thought his eardrum was busted.
Because when you see the punches on him, normally when you punch in the boxing gloves, like he'll have some reaction to it. His didn't have a reaction to it. So like they thought his shit was like stuffed. Nah, bro, that's straight hands. His shit is power. He's powered hands, bro.
They said they named Fury the Siberian Bull, Ivan Drago.
No, bro, he got the right name,
King
the Gypsy
for a reason.
King.
Yeah, he's the Gypsy King for a reason.
He dies.
He got the Gypsy King. He on his Thomas Shelby, boy. I be watching what's that the name of that show? I love that show, Peaky Blinders. Speaking of shows, this ain't got nothing to do with sports. All I got to do is say bravo to Game of Thrones last night.
Yo,
what a great
Rob! Don't even Rob. Rob, this ain't the time. Rob, this ain't the time. Bro. They're not ready for that. Rob, they're not ready, bro. They're not ready for House of the Dragons. So
I'm just saying, bravo to Game of Thrones last night. Lord,
can I just do a shout out to Hooters? Hooters signed 51 offensive lineman groups to NIL deals.
Oh, wow.
The chain said it wanted to sign offensive line groups rather than individual athletes and is now working with players from Auburn, LSU, Oklahoma, Miami, Georgia Tech, Missouri, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Florida Atlantic, and USF.
Wow.
You see a lot of wings going out in those campuses pretty soon.
A lot of wings and a lot of
I'm just saying, Hooters is in the NIL game now, baby. And hey, they came from the big boys.
Hey, why not capitalize? Hey.
Don't be surprised when you see the cheerleaders wearing Hooter shirts.
Hey, Hooters.
hey, when you start seeing offensive linemen walk around with Hooters patches on their jerseys, I'm just saying, you heard it on the Afternoon Blitz show first.
Hey, the real question is, do people really go to Hooters for the wings?
Oh, definitely not.
Oh, no, listen, when I go to Hooters, I'm hungry and I want visual stimulation. So, yes, I do go there for the wings. But I'm also getting visually stimulated at the same time.
I go to Hooters for the food. I go to the Tilted Kilt if I want to look at eye candy.
All right, now.
Hey, listen, I go to Hooters when I meet with my marriage counselor, okay?
Oh, God. The Afternoon Blitz just went off the rails.
You catch me at Hooters. That means I haven't gotten nothing for like a month. So I'm getting
when the wife says, "Listen, I'm going to give you a test. I'm going to take you to Hooters." Part of marriage counseling, and if that eyeball moves left or right, one damn time.
Ain't no test. I tell my wife all the time, look, I got 4 eyes. God blessed me with 2. My sight wasn't good. I had to add 2 more. I can see. I can't help what goes in front of these eyes. Just know I'm just looking. I know it's just eyes only. But sometimes somebody might walk up in the room and even your girl look at you and say, "You see that? I sure did."
Oh man. I'm not gonna apply, man. I didn't see nothing, babe. I didn't see nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. I was talking about. What we talking about, man? All I look is
for the chocolate factory. Oh, Damien. What a time, baby.
All right, let's get to final thoughts for today.
Hell, I thought we were at final thoughts. Okay.
Nah, those wasn't final thoughts. That was just horny thoughts.
hey, DJ Khaled had a good song for Wild Thoughts.
damn Little League baseball back under a weather delay again.
Uh-oh.
I know. I was watching the Little League New York team, man.
Yeah, the Indiana team's supposed to start at 3, but they're under a delay again. And Texas.
Yeah, my game don't happen until about 7 o'clock, so I think the rain will be out of there by 7. So I really believe that the Pearland game will go on.
Pearland!
Yeah, Pearland, baby, Pearland.
Jay last week had me rolling with that. He had me confused. Literally, I remember last week, he's over here yelling Pearland. I'm like thinking to myself, like, what the hell's Pearland? What's he yelling? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, something happened to Jay overnight. He just got Tourette's out of nowhere. Like, Pearland! Like, okay, Jay, you got it, bro. You got it. Then Chris is like, no, Pearland. They're the Little League Texas team. I'm like, oh, okay. I get it now.
Man, good times.
Always.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, Pearland wins the World Series. Y'all gonna know Pearland. I'm gonna tell you right now.
If Pearland wins the World Series, nobody's gonna care.
Yeah, you'll care. You'll care because New York wasn't there. God, could you imagine that? What if Pearland wins the World Series? Frankie's New York team sitting on the sidelines like his professional team, all on the sidelines. How great is that? Just
It's
beautiful.
not even my team, Jay. I don't give a damn about those Little League New Yorkers. I'm just watching them so that way I can make sure to laugh at your face when your Pearland goes down.
Jay, I'm sorry to tell you, but your Pearland is not going to win it.
They're not going to win tonight.
Wow.
Hey,
Hawaii
you keep saying that. Hey, you keep saying it because you know what? When Dustin says that,
Hey, Hawaii.
now that Gonzo's saying, now I got to take Gonzo serious.
Living
You know what?
dog crap out of them.
The Hawaii team is tough.
Hawaii's going to kick the ever-living dog crap out of them.
Oh.
I'm watching that game tonight. I hope Hagerstown has a flag, goes into the ditch, and loses their lunch money, and their cell phones go bad, and nobody knows where they are for 3 months.
Jay's fighting is like this is his big baller team, like his Astros. He's like, man, I'm watching this tonight. You know what? Listen, it's going down. I'm watching it. I'm coming for you, man. Pearland, who go for the world?
Pearland!
Hey, you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? If Pearland wins tonight, I'm going to Facebook call Tony Gonzalez in a group chat with Chris Gonzalez every hour on the hour from 10 p.m. until 1 a.m., and I'm going to see how pissed off I can make them before the next afternoon show.
Hawaii has outscored their opponents 23-1 in the Little League World Series, and they've played 10 innings.
And I'm going to call Dustin every 30 minutes until 5 a.m. It's all good.
Hey, Jay, I'm working 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., so I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm not sleeping at that time.
That's fine. I'll call you tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock.
You do that, I will shove your phone so far up your ass it will come out your mouth.
Lord Jesus is off the rail, Lord Jesus.
All right.
Hey, if you go that far up the butt, could you clean out my colon? Because I've been having the craps for the last week now.
I'll have Hawaii do that for you tonight when they beat Pearland.
Pearland, say it right. Pearland.
This has been the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. Thanks for joining us. We will see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for another episode. I want to thank Frankie, Rob, Jay, Dustin, everybody for coming on. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern here on the ASAP Sports Network.
We go.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.